mushroom. The local people, they are using the morel mushroom. This photo has taken from Darchula, and the the bottom of center. This is the Orajalum indicum flowers. It has been offered in about the stupa, and the photo was taken by Dr. Keshav Shrestha. And the next right top, this is how we could use the ethnobotany or the plants for this human needs or the benefit of the human. It has been shown over here. And the last one on top, is the right bottom. Maybe you all have heard about known about this plant. This is this Gulia or Gurju or Tinospora cordifolia, Tinospora sinensis. We do have now two Tinospora in Nepal, Tinospora crispa and Tinospora cordifolia sinensis, and it has been frequently used. While during the Corona time. So let me. So this is the outline of my presentation. I do have 5 sections. The first one is what are the principles or basic components of ethnobotany, and the second would be the research and progress. What we have so far done in Nepal, and third will be prospect and scope of the ethnobotany in Nepal, and then even the world, and then I will finish the presentation by conclusion and way forward. By a couple of slides. So this is the principle. So we do know the ethnobotany. This is the basic ideal. This is this relationship between plants, people, and culture. So the ethnobotany was coined by John Hershberger in 1895, and then 1896 or 1895. This is he coined this. Ethnobotany is interaction of people, plants, and culture. So, and then later on, Michael Balick and Alan Cox, they defined the ethnobotany. This is a reciprocal relationship among plants, people, through the tradition or culture. So we do define. So ethnobotany is the process and pattern of utilization of plants through traditional knowledge for human needs. So this is a process. This is a kind of process. This is also we can try to analyze the patterns in ethnobotany, the pattern and process of interaction of plants and people, and then so we could say this is this pattern and process through the gradient of space, the gradient of time, and the gradient of culture. So according to Cotton or Martin, it accounts what plant gives what for human, and how they have been used, and how the plants have been conserved in return. So these are these entities we do analyze in ethnobotany. So before proceed to the next slides, I do give you some basic idea of the physiography of the country. So that would give more sense to you all. So see over here, we do have 5 disparate physiographic regions: Terai, lowland Terai, and Shivalik, mid-hills, mountains, and Himalaya. Here is the elevation gradient. So this is the data available in the USAID website, and then here this figure gives us the remoteness index of the country. So most of the northern countries, most of the northern part of the country, they are relatively inaccessible. Whereas the southern belt, they are relatively accessible. So within this within this vertical span, within this short vertical span around 150 to 200 kilometers, we have large elevation gradient and different disparate physiographic regions. That why I present over this slide is because of this region, the disparate regions. We have rugged, remote, and rural steep terrain of the terrain, which helps to harbor more than 10,000 flowering plants and around 2,500 medicinal plants. This is quite good number in terms of this land proportion. However, while at the same time, more than 50% of the people resides in these the hills and mountainous region where the fragile and remote physiography is there, and with low economic productivity. So this physiography, this rugged or remote terrain limits the access of a modern facility, or limits the access of transportation and development. So this region compel the local people to use the local environment or resources of plants for their livelihood or primary health care, or for household economy. So plant people interaction is this is the one component. Plant people interaction is concentrated with geography. So the second component, in terms of ethnobotany is ecology. And in 1996, Dr. Begosi introduced the ecological terms into this ethnobotany. Here you can see in this graph the cultural importance of the plant is increased as the availability of plant increases, according to Albuquerque and Lucena. So the ecological appearance hypothesis, even this is the ecological appearance hypothesis, was rooted from the ecology, and the more apparent or salient species is there, and it is more likely to be foraged or likely to be harvested. So ecological salient species are available. This according to Solidarity, what is the salient species is ecological salient species are available to access, easy to access, available, or frequent and abundant. So plant use value depends on ecological availability, or this richness and abundance of this plant. So this is next is according to Begosi, he introduced most of the ecological theories hypothesis in ethnobotany. According to him, if the area is biodiverse, the use of plant is heterogeneous, and if the area is less diverse, the use of plant is homogeneous. So human communities that inhabit in a rich species, rich ecosystem, rich ecosystem, they also do use the high number of plants. See one graph over here. This is the data from around more than 100 quadrants. Species in each quadrant and number of each in each quadrant, and the graph shows that number of useful plants increases as increases the species richness. So there is a positive association between ecological and ethnobotanical variables. And the third is culture and history. We do know the Ayurveda is around 5,000 years old text, which is the foundation of the life of science and then the art of healing culture in Hindu tradition. It's also considered the corpus of traditional medicine, which caters the use of plants for goodwill of plant and environment. Here, one Susruta Samhita, written in 6th century BCE, in old palm leaf manuscript written in the Kutila and Gupta script. It's considered the oldest written document in the field of Ayurvedic medicine, which is preserved in Nepal in a Kesar library, Lanchor. So you can see over here, here is in the right side, here is a sketch of human anatomy based on 18th century Ayurvedic understanding, mounted on a Wellcome collection, UK. And then texts are written in a Sanskrit and then Nepali language. This gives the idea that this history and the culture, this also influenced the ethnobotany. They are also an imminent factor in ethnobotany. The one is here, as I already said, the long history of contact community with the nature nurtures the tradition and culture that introduce the plant livelihood. The fourth one is socioeconomic change. You can see in the right side in the graph, you can see over here the plant collection is increases as the site proximates. Like what is this mean is most of the anthropogenic or nearby sites are more forest than this distant and primary forest. So this is because it's due importance of the time and then time and accessibility. So this because of that reason, collecting plants from the close proximity might have a less quality, might have less quality plants. So the plant collection in these terms, we can say that plant collection is affected by cost-benefit trade-offs. Or in that reason, we could admit disturbance pharmacopoeia in ethnobotany, where the introduction of invasive species and anthropogenic sites in pharmacopoeia is both the invasive or alien species and then anthropogenic or secondary forests. They are frequently studied in a disturbance pharmacopoeia. The fifth one, this is utmost, and this is very common practice. Plants are collected because of their bioactive compounds. All we know about the collection of the taxus forest, Plica-taxol, or the collection of artemisinin, Artemisia for artemisinin. So traditionally, some plants are collections, some plant collection are driven by their organoleptic or chemical properties. So organoleptic properties or chemical properties are associated with therapeutics of the plants. Even in WHO, the data showed that a total of 120 drug compounds were isolated from 94 plant species, out of which 80% were related or rooted to the ethnomedicinal purpose. So ethnobotany or ethnomedicine is a precursor of drug discovery. While saying that, there is one practice, though it is obsolete or rudimentary in some countries, some plant collection is also based on a doctrine of signature. As we know, in the collection of the walnut for memory longevity, because it resembles to the brain, and the collection of the Centella asiatica leaf, because its leaf resembles to its brain. But some of this data shows that the usage of the Centella asiatica leaf helps to keep alert. It might some of the results are resembles to these what we are thought of or thinking of. And even the yellow flowers or latex or dyes are remedial to treat jaundice, according to Comet. And then even in our country, though it is rudimentary, so some of the practice like use of the berberis or mahonia bark, which is yellow, the cuscuta steam or carica fruits or duranta fruits, or the flowers of butea, cassia, cajanus, or rainwater, even the curcuma root, which are yellow in color, they are still used for jaundice in Nepalese pharmacopoeia. Even in Israel, in folk medicine, heart-shaped leaves of the Melissa officinalis is used to treat for the weakness. So these are some practices, though they are rudimentary. They still, though they are we consider it obsolete, but they are still rudimentary in some part of the countries. And here, this graph shows that the first one is the green one, the central leaf, and it resembles to the brain. The second is the center one is this section of this carrot, and this resembles to the iris. And then the third one is the walnut cotyledon, this resembles to the brain. So the last one, the components of the ethnomedicine or ethnobotany, is climate change. Climate change can also influence the ethnobotany or ethnomedicine, or we can consider this is also one more important variable with ethnobotany or ethnomedicine. And when the climate continues to change, there might have some irreversible consequences like habitat loss or extinction of species, or even you have heard that upslope of the southern species, which lead to the contraction of the mountain species range. Even some annual medicinal herbs, they upslope faster than other species. Decrease in availability of medicinal plants, phenology change, reduction in medicinal plant production, or change in a secondary metabolite, or distribution shift along the latitudinal longitudinal gradient, and then all they lead to the change in the picking site. So all these, the decrease in availability, change in the phenology, change in the distribution, or the change in the metabolite or production, that led to dissenting harvesting calendar and the change in the alteration of traditional medicinal plant collection and use. So all these things, because they are this because of the climate change, there is some change of influence on ethnobotany or ethnomedicine. In the second part, I do present over here in the progress. This slides gives you some idea about what is the ethnobotanical research is going on over the country. Though the data was published in 2013, but it seems interesting that there were 337 publications in 2001, and then there were 2,367 publications in 2003. According to Pycf-August 2016. So the research in ethnobotany medicine has been increased in multiple folds. And then the keywords hit in National Science Foundation, ethnobotany keyword to try to search in ethnobotany National Science Foundation, tried by Bennett, and then we found only 2 hits in 2001. And then there were, I tried in 2018, and there were 22 hits in one NSF website. So this shows that the research and then research in ethnobotany medicine has been gradually increased. And here, in case of Nepal, the ethnobotany. M.L. Banerjee, the publication of M.L. Banerjee in 1955 is considered to be the first publication in Nepal's ethnobotany. And then after there are other seminal works authored by Singh, Pandey, Cho, and Devkota, Butter, and Coburn. And so 1980s is the golden era for the ethnobotany in Nepal. According to Mananda 1997, until 1990, there were 41 studies on ethnobotany. And then in 2004, there were 599. So here I to present the review of the ethnobotanical research. According to Raj Bhandari and Winkler 2015, there were 822 research until 2015. Out of them, 44% were related to the ethnomedicine, and then the 23% to the ethnobotany. And according to Dr. Khemere 2008, there were 53% research related to the inventory and use of medicinal plants. And then we had data, and we published one recently published, and then over 1,000 ethnobotanical studies. And then I do present these findings in a forthcoming slide. And this graph over here. And this shows that according to this rate of 2004, and then they had 599 publications they reviewed, and according to this, and the 5-year interval, like 1996 to 2000, is very fruitful time in terms of ethnobotany. Here I try to compare this. The paper, ethnobotanical paper of presentation presented in 2 conferences. One held in 1992 National Botanical Conference, and the second one is the latest one, ICPB, held last month. Held last month with the support of the Department of Plant Resources. So there were 37 publication papers in National Botanical Conference in 92, and then there was only one related to the ethnobotany, and then these were the forestry, taxonomy, ecology, ethnobotany. These were the fields, these were the themes of the paper presented. In the last conference held last month, here you can see over here, and then there were around 14% papers related to the ethnobotany, and then the last 3 columns of here. The last 3 columns of physiology, cytology, and pathology. There were papers in 1992, but in the last month, in the recent conference, these themes or these subjects were superseded by biological invasion, climate change, and product development and bioprospecting. So there is change in a quantity, even change in a quality, and change in a content. So in different disciplines, change has been occurred in ethnobotany. And this is research the publication, this is this presentation about ethnomedicinal research. Here, here we reviewed 336 ethnobotic publications published between 1975 and 2021, and then definitely the data has been exciting, and then this could be a snowball effect. And here, this is the data, same data, and then I try to show you in a heat map, and then this shows that this blue color is just the area most of the publication or research has been done, where this central part of the eastern and central Nepal, and then midwestern part, but still they are understudied. So this is the word cloud of the ethnobotany, and you can compare. I again use the same source, Srestha 2004, and then Kumari 2022, and then here you can find this ethnobotany, plants, Nepal, medicinal or district. These were this frequently used words until 2004, and now the medicinal, biodiversity, ethnobotany or ethnomedicine, or ethnic or ecology. These terms were also frequently used to do research in ethnobotany. So these are the subfields. Besides the components, we could also talk about this. What are the subfields in ethnobotany, and then what are the fields we could research? Here I came across with the 6 subfields of ethnobotany: traditional, cultural, quantitative, applied, conservation, and economic ethnobotany. So besides doing traditional ethnobotany, we could also do cultural ethnobotany, quantitative ethnobotany, applied ethnobotany, or economic ethnobotany. These are the things we could accommodate in ethnobotany. Here, this is this one graph. We can make the traditional ethnobotany appealing by nicely presenting our data. Here, this curve diagram present this live plant forms and then plant parts used in ethnobotany. So we could use technology, or we could use different tools to make this ethnobotany or even the traditional ethnobotany appealing. So we could use this kind of technology or technique while analyzing or while presenting data. Even in traditional cultural ethnobotany, we can do ethnography. We have number of dozens of examples. Dr. Manjaro, he did research on a Abiasi of Darsula in 1976. Coburn, he did work on 1984 on Gurung. Martin, he did work on ethnographic study of Jiril in Dolaka. And Dr. Jana Fortier, she did work on Rauti of Jadildura. So in cultural ethnobotany, we could work on ethnography or even species use crop. This is one thing we could work, and then we can present our data nicely. And this I have presented 2 graphs over here, and this this is the species use crop I tried in my paper. Here we could use this number of respondents and then number of useful plants they mentioned. And then we plot in the X, Y, and Y axis, and we could make a species use curve like we did in the species area curve, ecology. So we could try this kind of analysis in a traditional ethnobotany. Even in cultural ethnobotany, we can do intercultural or intracultural ethnobotany or cross-cultural analysis. Here I have shown one presentation over here. I collected my data for my PhD from. I presented here the data from 2 districts, the Baitadi and then Dachula, and then we can compare the data of this in index of agreement, species consensus data value, and we could compare over here. And again, we could plot this IASC value of each species. And here are this 4 quadrants: A, B, C, D. And then A is mostly inclined for this Dachula, and C for the Baitadi, and B is for the highest data with common for both districts. Like it has convergent value, and D is insignificant. The data from this D is insignificant. So we could analyze the data from this way, and so we can study the intra-cultural or even intercultural analysis we can do over here. Or we can, if we have a data from informant agreement ratio or IFC or something like that, and then we could plot the data of this different system, and then we could plot over here, and then which plants are used for which purpose, like for this Pycf-August district, plants are frequently used for skin disease and genetic urinary system, whereas in Dachula districts, most of the plants are used for endocrine disorder. So from this graph, we could have an idea that which disease or which kind of ailments is common in that particular area. So, and then the third one is quantitative ethnobotany. We can quantify and analyze our data, so, and we can do lots of things, like we can compute the calculated use value following the Phillips and Gentry agreement ratio or ICF from based on protein and anti-districts, relative frequency of citation RFC or fidelity level. Here I try to compare this data from ecology and ethnobotany. Here this in the x-axis I plotted the number of plant species, total number of plant species in a family. In the y-axis, total number of medicinal plant species in a family, and then we can regress which family are overexploited, which family are underutilized. Here, I tried 3 regression model, linear model, negative binomial, and log linear model. Even we can use Bayesian and logistic regression. So different statistical approach we can use, and we can present in the ethnobotanical data, and then we can present our ethnobotanical research interesting or fascinating. In conservation ethnobotany, as I already said, we could compute relative frequency, citation frequency value from the ethnobotany and IBI from ecology. So if we compare the two data, and then we can relate ecology and ethnobotany, and then conclude some implications for the conservation. So it is reasonable to assume that if the collection is directed to a species of less IBI, mean the less frequent species, there is the jeopardy in the biological conservation or resource scarcity. So we can correlate IBI and RFC value, and then we can conclude, we can derive some conclusion for the conservation prospect. Even according to Albuquerque and Oliveira, we can analyze the redundancy analysis, when a number of percentage of species used for a particular use. So if the number of quite high number of plants, if the plants are used for a particular use, particular use, or for a particular area, and we could say that that area, that use type is highly flexible, or that system is resilient. We could analyze in that way, and then we can come up some idea which system are vulnerable and which area is biodiversity, which area is important for the biodiversity conservation prospect. So we can correlate, or we can do a conservation ethnobotany, and then we can derive conclusion for the implication of conservation, or for the implication for the system sustainability. And the next one is the applied ethnobotany. We can do applied ethnobotany, and here using GIS tool, we can find out, as I already presented over here, this graph shows that, this map shows that this brown color, this is underexplored area. So by using GIS tool, we can conclude that we can give some idea to the other readers which area is underexplored, or which area is extensively used, extensively studied by using GIS tool. Or there are some studies which are quite applied. And this is the example of this from the COVID and recently published. According to Gawali, they have come up with certain some of the anti-COVID potential plans, and that could be useful. And this is also relevant to this data published by the government in 2020 Ayurveda alternative medicine guidelines for preventive measures and management protocols for COVID-19. So we can do some sort of some research which are quite applied for this government or for the people. So that comes under this applied ethnobotany. So the last one is economic ethnobotany. I mean, like we can analyze how the medicinal plants, the NTFs contribute to the household economy, or whether these traded or commercial plants are useful to the local livelihood or not. This kind of studies we can carry it out in economic ethnobotany. And then here, Dr. Pycf-August, he has done several works on economic ethnobotany. So these are this. So the ethnobotany is a multidisciplinary field. It can accommodate ecology, geography, anthropology, economics, even statistics, or pharmacology or genetics. So this is. So now I would like to come to the third part of my presentation. This is the prospect. What is the prospect of the ethnobotany in the country and the world and the worldwide? This, according to this, if we go through the interim constitution of Nepal, it nicely stated that this pursue the policy that aimed at identifying, protecting traditional knowledge, skills, and practices. This National Foundation for Development of National Act 2002, they state that clearly state the promotion and preservation of traditional knowledge, skills, and technology for indigenous nationalities. And agrobiodiversity policy also have urges to work on traditional knowledge, skills, innovation, technology, and then the skills of the promotion of the skills of the farmers. So we have adequate policy protocols that also help to support the ethnobotany. This is National Adaptation Plan recently online by the government Ministry of Forest. This is summary for policymakers, and it has come up with 64 programs for climate change adaptation for the country. Within the 64 programs here, I have cataloged 5-6 programs over here, which are directly or indirectly related to this the documentation of traditional knowledge or conservation of traditional knowledge, and then promotion of ethnobotany or medicinal practices. Here, I would like to spell out over here. The second one is support and catalog the ITK and practices. This is particularly focus on indigenous ethnobotany or medicinal practices and of the upland areas, and capacitate local grazers, herders, or healers with respect to address climate change, pasture management, and transhumance. So this program came into the forest biodiversity conservation. There are 11 thematic sectors in a national adaptation plan, and then the second one comes directly related to the ethnobotany. The medicine comes into the forest biodiversity conservation. This is one of the program of this out of 11 program mentioned within the map. Again, we do have the NBSAP, though this is the high time to renew the NBSAP. This NBSAP, the 2040-2020, facilitate to access to scientific sources and materials associated with traditional knowledge with the free prior concept, free prior informed consent, PIC or PIC, and the mutually agreement terms. So we have to follow these things to carry out ethnobotany or ethnobotanical research or ethnomedicinal research. Conservation of and respect to ITK innovation and practices of local communities. And one thing is very important, and it clearly spelled out: drugs extraction technology and value addition from different amphibians and reptiles which are ethnomedicinally used. So we do have a good number of policy protocols that they are quietly address quietly address and urge to conserve the ethnobotany medicine in the country. And hope the renewed NBSAP, and then with the access to beneficiary action plan. Action plan is also will be come up very soon. I hope these two protocols will also keep enough room for ethnobotany IT conservation. The scope. So I'm going to conclude this presentation. So this ethnobotany throws light on unknown plants, or this gives the idea of the new uses of the many known plants, and it furnishes findings on wild edible plants, useful plants, underutilized plants. This field I didn't cover all in the first slide. So this ethnobotany also furnishes findings on these plants that are potential as vegetable, food, and fodder, or fiber for future, and it complements upsetting the world hunger or energy deficit. The search for new medicine by pharmaceutical industries has turned to plant natural products, and then and the ethnobotanical studies at first step in bioprocessing. So there is a huge scope of ethnobotany in a pharmaceutical area. So ethnobotany or ethnomedicine, it plays vital role in sustainable conservation. As I said, it gives us idea, and it guides us to use which species to be used or which species to be conserved. So it gives us idea, and it portrays the multiple use scopes of the species, or this idea of the overutilized species that are in urgent need of conservation. So it gives us the idea for the conservation, and also serves as an opportunity to understand how biodiversity is perceived by the local communities, and how biodiversity has been managed across the communities or across the nation or even the world. So we can upscale, or we can replicate this success story in other part of the country. So to conclude, so far the published documents in Nepal, it shows that Nepal has over a half-century experience in ethnobotany, and the pattern is emerged, diversified, and contextualized. The varied use of plants for socioeconomic to the crisis management indicates that the plant-people interaction is inseparable, important, and immediate. To sum up, ethnobotany is traditional knowledge, rooted on traditional knowledge, serves more to humanity and contributes to adaptation and resilience to global change. The way forward, ethnobotany is the plant collection, consumption, and conservation practice through the traditional culture. Is greatly influenced in Nepal, greatly influenced by different ecological environments defined by availability of resources, accessibility of the geography, cultural preoccupancy or belief, socioeconomy, and climate or weather. Thus, there are ample scope ethnobotany, there are ample potential or ethnobotanical co-variables could be accommodated in ethnobotany to study further. And this is the discipline of potential for solution to socioeconomic, environmental, and then climate crisis. Thank you. I should stop over here. Now, I would like to please feel free to share your comments or feedback for further improvement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ripu sir, for your nice presentation with depth information about ethnobotany in Nepal, including its status, pattern, and prospect. And now I would like to move to discussion session. I can see some of the questions over chat box. And the first question is from Ramagi Mire. She wants to know about the condition of ethnobotanical research in Nepal. Similar, there is a question from Nisa Saha. Could you please elaborate the meaning of change in picking site? Ripu sir, could you please
thank you.
Question.
Thank you, Rama, and thank you, Nisa. I said, all right? Am I right? Nisa, right? Yes. Okay, well, thank you, Rama and Nisa. I already presented what is the conditional status of ethnobotany in Nepal in the slides. I should say, the condition of the ethnobotany, though the quantitatively it has been increased, and we should work on a quality. That's why I have made this presentation. That's why the the forthcoming ethnobotanical research could accommodate those fields I presented over here: culture or climate change or applied ethnobotany. Many sorts of things we could accommodate, and then we could beautify the ethnobotany. So far, I should say this is satisfactory. This is not bad in that situation, but we could work together, and then we could strengthen in the meantime. And the next question is very important, and then very good questions. I feel it. So this is because of the climate change. Because of the climate change, there is change in the phenology. There is change in distribution of the plants. There is change in production of the plants. They change in a site. Even this because of most of the plants, they have been upslope, they have been moved higher up in higher elevation. So the traditional harvesting calendar, I mean, like the traditional people, they were used to collect the plants in particular area, and it has now been changed. So there is a descended because of that reason. I should say there is a descended harvesting calendar. The harvesting calendar has been changed. So we have to adapt. In that situation, we have to adapt, and we have to do what other things has been changed. What are the things the local people have been practiced as an adaptation to adapt to that change. We could work on that. So I think Nisa, you got my point.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Roma and Nisa, for your question, and thank you, sir, for your clear answer. And I can see the question from Rama Gimile: how senior scientists motivate young researchers doing research in ethnobotany. There is
So should we go again?
So there is a question from Anupama Kesi. How countries are near equatorial region coping with the story of floral despite of diversity. I will repeat this question.
Okay.
There is a question from Anupama Kesi. How countries are near equatorial region coping with the story of flora despite of diversity? And there is question from, no, only this word. No. Sir, could you please answer these two questions?
Okay. So let me. I couldn't understand the questions raised by Anupama Kesi. However, based on my knowledge, I try to answer. How countries near equatorial region coping with study of flora despite of diversity? Okay, like countries near equatorial region coping with the study of flora. Anupama, could you make a bit clear on the question that way, and that way I could come to your point?
Sir, please. Do you want to repeat the question?
Yeah. Just make it simple. That's why I could answer you very precisely. Anupama, just text another question then in a simple way.
Miss Anupama, could you please ask the question by yourself so that the sir will be more clear about your question?
Good afternoon, sir. My question was how country near equatorial region, as we know, the country near equatorial line are very diverse. So my question was how the scientists are studying those countries in the context of flora, in the context of plants.
Well, as we know, we are in a cross section of this different phytogeographic regions. So we do have a good number of diversity of plants, and then even then plants, medicinal plants, ethnobotanical plants. We do have over 2,000 ethnobotanical medicinal plants, and then we should work on this. We should work on conservation of these plants while doing research, while documenting the knowledge. At the same time, we do also work on traditional knowledge. We do work on conservation of traditional knowledge or indigenous knowledge. So what I think is we should work together, and we should work on conservation of maintaining diversity of flora, and then we should work on conservation of plants, and at the same time we should ensure that traditional knowledge or this indigenous knowledge has been conserved.
Thank you, sir. There is a message from Dr. Dinesh Bhuji, sir. He's appreciating your presentation, and he's saying that I know him from 20 years ago, so we appreciate his work and continue to work in dedication. There is another question from Sri Hari Bhattrai. In context of Nepal, most of the researches have been focused on qualitative or traditional ethnobotany. Is not it the time to go beyond, like towards drug formulation and standardization?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sri Hari. This is the point to be noted by everyone, and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to diversify this ethnobotanical research from traditional to this to the multidisciplinary research. That's why I'm presenting here how we can correlate the climate change in ethnobotany, how we can develop product, and then how we can contribute to the ethnobotany to the bioprospecting. These are the concerns I do have. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to collaborate with my peers, even my students and the juniors, and let's work beyond the traditional knowledge. Even if we are working on traditional knowledge, let's make it appealing by using technology, by using the various tools we do have, even statistical tools or GIS tools we could use, and then we can make the paper interesting, and we can make the informative, we can make the message informative. That's why even the layman people, even the community people, even a reader from one corner of the world can understand very easily. That's why that's my concern, and then I hope you could collaborate me, you do collaborate me, all we do collaborate, and then we could come up with this not only the qualitative, but qualitative, quantitative, even then disciplinary type of ethnobotanical work where we could work in the future.
Thank you, Dr. Kaur. There is a question from Dinesh Neopane, sir. How could Nepal get benefit from ethnobotanical resources that has practiced in the rural part of Nepal, or what is the prospect of research outcomes for economic benefits? Any progress so far done in Nepal in this area?
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. We as ethnobotanist or as a student of ethnomedicine, I have been working for decades in a rural area of the Western Nepal, far Western Nepal, not one Western Nepal, far Western Nepal. I have been working there for decades, and then I'm also collaborating with some collaborators from USA and others, and we are now trying to collaborate and then trying to give some incentive to the local people. We are now trying to give some, at least we can give some co-authorship to the local people, who is the main contributor to that field. And now access to benefit sharing AP, NBS AP is coming soon. And this strategy for access to benefit sharing, this also it has clearly spelled out what are the benefits to the rural community that goes to the rural community. This has also been clearly spelled out in the ABSAP. So what I should say is well, we should work not only as outsider. We should work. We should collaborate with them. We should continue. We should make a project for a long term. That's why we could not only catalog their ethnobotanical practices. We could also recount their story, recount their livelihood, and then that's why we could help in from many aspects. Even to adapt to the climate change, even adapt to the socio-economic transformation. These are some sort of things we could work, and then we could help to people who are living in a far rural, remote areas of the country. And the second part is the contribution to the economy. Definitely, access to benefit sharing and even patenting. These are some sort of things. This is the beyond the scope of this presentation, and even I'm a layman on those aspects. So I'm still learning on those patenting or something like that. So these are some sort of things we could work, and then we could, if we work nicely, present the biodiversity registration of a particular area, biodiversity registration of the indigenous knowledge, with this long dated references that could help to and then that could help to patenting or any claim we can make to the country, and then that could help to the economic return of the country in the Nepal.
Thank you, Dr. Neopane and Dr. Kuwar. So there is a question from Ramkrishna Gautam sir. Invasive alien plants are always considered as a nuisance in the introduced area. Is there any practice of using invasive species as a medicinal plant in Ethnobotany in Nepal? Also, there is a short question from Siva Devkota sir. He want to know, are there any works bridging between anthropology and ethnobotany in Nepalese context? Will you please answer these two questions?
Thank you. The two questions I do had, and then the first one is application of this invasive alien plants. I have presented one slide over there, and then this is the disturbance pharmacopoeia, and the term was introduced by Robert Weitz. He's from US, and then he was a chief editor of economic botany, and then he introduced that term disturbance pharmacopoeia. And then now I have seen Professor Mande Bhatto is here, and then a number of colleagues are here. They are working, and then they are trying to catalog the use of invasive alien plants in the ethnobotany. So cautious use of the invasive plants could be a resource. So if we give some idea how we can use the invasive plants in a cautious way, that could be a resource. So as I said, in disturbance pharmacopoeia, we already have several practices, several research have been done in worldwide, even in Nepal. Professor Mande Bhatto is here. I think so. And then he has done use of weeds. Maybe even Dr. Chaudhary, Professor Dr. Ramprasad Chaudhary has come up some publication, the use of weeds. This is one kind use of invasive alien plants in ethnobotany. The second is with Dr. Devkota. Saraswati, could you please repeat his question? Yes, I forgot it. Siva Devkota, what
is there any work bridging between anthropology?
Well, thank you. I got his point. Thank you, Dr. Devkota. And this is one important thing we have to collaborate. We have to collaborate with anthropologists, sociologists. That's why there is one presentation in a cultural ethnobotany, I presented work from Coburn. She worked on ethnobotany of the Gurung, Martin, and even Manjaro. He did work on ethnobotany ethnography of Biasi, and then how the Biasi people do the transhumance and then trade the medicinal plants in a Darchula, Baitari area. These are the ethnographer, and even we could accommodate. We could work with anthropologists, and then we can do the ethnography. That's why the ethnography is a science we could that can connect this anthropology and then ethnomedicine or ethnobotany.
Thank you, sir. There is another question from Kamal Rajabhusai, sir. First of all, he is very thankful to your such informative presentation, and he want to ask that how can we mentor the traditional way of conducting a thesis? Traditional way of conducting a thesis, MSc or BSc thesis on ethnobotany, visiting a community, collecting information on the list of plant and animal parts and the way they use the parts. In few cases, the local might also be kept in doubt. Hence, how about asking students to conduct lab-based experiment to find if medicinal value does exist in parts of animal and plants?
Thank you. Thank you. This is very good questions coming across. Here is some malpractice even in the ethnobotany. Some of the house-based studies have been done. But we had to. What we can do is while doing ethnobotany, just interviewing 1 or 2 person is not enough. So based on information, based on how many persons you have interviewed, you have consulted, and then just qualify the answers which are very common. In ethnobotanical practice, what we do is we qualify that information which has more than 3 mentions or 3 quotations or 3 citations. So less than 3 citations, we do not qualify for further analysis. So in this study, in ethnobotanical studies, there might have some outliers. So we can first border the data more than 3 citations, and later on we can compare that findings with this similar studies carried out in that area. Whether how this comparative study we could say, and later on we can compare our study with this Ayurvedic data. We can find those data in online. What are the uses mentioned in Ayurveda, or so we can compare our findings with Ayurveda. So that's why we can further verify or further validate our findings. And there are some pharmacological studies, biological studies have been carried out, and then they have been published in a peer-reviewed journals or Q1 journals. So we can compare our findings with these findings of those journals, and then we can validate. That's why these are the process. This is a kind of rigorous process, and then finally we could come up with this genuine or this really ground-based information that could help to advance for drug discovery.
Thank you, both of you, Ripu sir and Kamal sir. And there is another question from Rajendra Basela sir. First of all, he want to congratulate for such wonderful and informative presentation. And he want to ask, are there any quantified data of extension of medicinal plants due to biological invasion? What ways are applying to overcome such hazards?
Thank you, Rajendra. This is quite beyond of the scope of this presentation, but I try to answer. We do not have that kind of data. The extinction of medicinal plants because of this invasion, biological invasion. But there are some plants we could say. I don't know whether they are they had become vulnerable because of this invasion, or because of that environmental factors or climatic factors or even environmental factors. Some Botellahara netamontanum, or some netamontanum. This is a we can find in a Tanau area, Tanau Chadibambara area. This is even the Cycas spinulosa, the tree ford. This is this plant. It has we could say that these are the fossil plants. They are gonna be extinct if we do not initiate any conservation measures on time. So these are the medicinal plant too. The Cythia has been used as a vegetable for digestion purpose. So we could consider that plant as an example of medicinal plants, and then going to be extinct if the conservation measures are not taken on time. Thank you, Rajendra.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar, for the answer. Now we are running out of time, so we want to go to the near end of the session. Lastly, I am very thankful to our guest speaker, Dr. Kumar, and all the participants. Now, I would like to request Dr. Dinesh Neupane, Executive Director of Resources Himalaya Foundation, for the vote of thanks and closing remarks. Over to you, sir. Dr. Neupane.
Yes, thank you so much, Saraswati. Thank you, Dr. Kumar, for providing your valuable time in talking about ethnobotanical perspective in Nepal. It was interesting to hear you about the history of ethnobotanical research in Nepal in this platform organized by Resources Himalaya Foundation in Bangalore Graduation and Himalaya. The PYCF, actually the Palladian Conservation Forum, is usually organized monthly, particularly every first Friday of the month, by inviting researchers and planners to talk about the contemporary topics. And thank you, Dr. Kumar, for accepting our invitation in this platform for this month. Today, Dr. Kumar covered the whole topics, the wide range of information, starting from the historical perspective of ethnobotanical research in Nepal, then to various sectors of research areas that is related to the ethnobotany, then how legal provisions has been formulated to promote the ethnobotanical research in Nepal, and then the scope of the research area that the students can go further for the research. I appreciate how Dr. Kumar acknowledges to the pioneer researchers who contributed to this field since a long time. It was actually full packed of information to the students, learners, practitioners, and the talk was very fruitful and interesting to hear about these various aspects of ethnobotanical field. Now it's time to work further. I know this is to make government or the researchers should work further for the industrializing the ethnobotanical resources for the economic benefit of the country. That I only asked, but yes, of course we should go further. How the society can get benefit from such kinds of informations. And for such amazing presentation, I would again like to congratulate and thank you, Dr. Kumar, for sharing such information to us today. We Research Himalaya Foundation usually provide a token of love to the presenter, but because of the virtual platform, possible now, but we request we accept our sincere thanks through this platform. And in last, I would like to thank all the participants for the fruitful session and interactions in this program. With this, I would like to conclude the session. And thank you to all, everyone, including Ripu Kumar, for this wonderful timing. Have a nice day and please stay safe. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. And if you have any question or feedback, please email me at the email given below.
Thank you, sir.